Hey guys, sorry if I look like crap. I've been mudding literally all day and we just got everything cleaned up and I forgot to take an intro, so I'm doing that now. So I'm down at my parents' farm and you'll notice the garage is different. This is the garage that I work in when I'm doing bigger projects, not just little mods and stuff to my side-by-side. I got a lot more room and most of my tools are here. So today we're gonna look at my Amphibious Coot. It's really neat. A lot of people don't know about them, but they're really fun, really capable, so I'm going to show you that now. This is our 1960s Amphibious Coot. We actually have 3 of them. This one is the only 4-wheel steer Coot we have. The other ones are 2-wheel steer, but they're all pretty similar. This is the best one by far. We got this, it didn't have an engine or anything in it, and I had to put a new engine in it, get clutches and chains and gears, all that stuff. And I'm kind of starting this video in the middle of this build. It's just kind of something I work on in my spare time, but I'm gonna do a lot more stuff to it, so you'll probably see it on the channel even more. These Amphibious Coots were made in the 1960s. They were used for utility, kind of working on jobs where it's muddy. The military used them somewhat, but it wasn't all that popular. People use them for off-roading. This one used to have like a drill rig on the back of it that used to drill post holes, things like that in like muddy areas. This one has the 4-wheel steering. There's a bar that goes all the way through to steer the rear end. It's really dirty. We have been mudding. I let the plugs out, but apparently they're clogged. These Coots are very good at floating on the water, and they're also really good at crawling. They can crawl over, I mean, pretty much anything. Trees, stumps. I mean, I've had it over some pretty big stuff, and it makes it pretty well. The bottom is completely flat. There's nothing to get hung up on. It doesn't have any suspension. You can see the axles just go straight out the side of the tubs. It does articulate, so the front and back articulate separately. It's got like a threaded tube in the center where it pivots, and that's where the drive shaft and rear steering arm go through. They're inside these tunnels. These things are really good at crawling. They have a really low gear for crawling. The articulation in the center, I mean, you could flip one of these tubs all the way 180 degrees, all the way upside down. I mean, it'll articulate really far. I removed the seats so you can see the engine bay. The Coots originally came with a 13 or 14 horsepower Tecumseh engine in it, but a lot of guys upgrade to these Vanguard engines. It's a 18 horsepower V-twin, so I upgraded to that. Got upgraded primary and secondary clutches, and I had to rebuild all the mounting for the steering and the engine mounts, all that stuff. I'm still kind of getting everything dialed in. I haven't painted it all yet, but we've been taking it out because it's a blast. I still have a lot of things that I need to finish. I made these seats, but it really needs a bench seat because when you're floating in the water, you kind of need to shift your weight to keep it floating straight. I kind of didn't account for that. So you can see off the engine, there's a primary clutch that drives the secondary clutch. And then you have the small transmission here. It's got high and low gears and reverse as well. And then you can't see in there very well, but there's a chain drive that goes to a sprocket here, and then there's a brake there, and then that's where the power drives to the drive shaft. There's a drive shaft that goes through the center of it, and it's got, in the axles, it's got like a worm gear. It's got straight cut gears. It's really loud. It whines really loud when you're moving, but the differentials are locked all the time, so it is kind of hard to turn. Actually, one of the modifications that I'm thinking of making is power steering. I've seen some guys do it, use like a Saturn electric power steering unit, something like that. So that's one thing I'm gonna look into. I also need to put a little bit bigger gas tank. This one's not very big, but that was just, I mean, to get it going. These Coots are really good at floating. You can haul quite a bit of weight in them. My dad used to actually hunt with one. You could throw a bunch of deer in the back and still go across water, things like that. It actually floats a lot better with some weight in the back. You can actually put seats in the back too. This one isn't all that fast on the water because the only thing moving it forward is the tires. So it's pretty slow on the water. You can actually get a propeller that mounts onto this rear diff. It goes out the wall. I still need to find a sealed bearing that would allow me to put a propeller on the back of this one. Our second Coot over here, it's actually got the propeller on it. This one does run, but I'm actually doing an engine swap to a little bit bigger engine on that. And this one's got some rust on the tub. I was never able to float this one yet, but I think with that propeller, the Coot would move so much faster on the water. This propeller has just got a quick pin to pull it off, so when you're off-roading you don't mess up the prop. So on this Coot, I took off the diff cover so you can see. That's what the gear looks like inside of there. It's like a straight cut worm gear, so the diffs are locked at all times. I was kind of concerned to post content about the amphibious Coots on the channel, but I figured it's off-roading and it's something that we always do. They're really awesome vehicles. They're a lot of fun. Not many people have them, so there's not a whole lot of interest in it, but I'm one of those guys that really likes unique, weird vehicles, and I like finding new vehicles, so hopefully you guys like this. So let's go take it out mudding now. Okay, I hope you like this video. It's a little bit different than previous videos I've posted, but I hope you enjoyed it. The Coot still needs quite a few things to be not perfect, but much better than it is now. When you have it in high speed, the tires kind of kick water over the sides when you're floating in the water. And then also there's holes in the tub for the steering arms, and they're supposed to have rubber gaskets, but I don't have those right now, so I need to either order some or make some up to keep the water out. But once you get water in the tub, it's hard to get it out of there. You got to pull the drain plugs. In the last video that you've seen before this, I was getting a little bit of water on the belt because I'd been mudding all day and I had quite a bit of water in the bottom and it was starting to splash up on the belt. I was slipping, but I was able to just kick it in reverse, back out of the pond, no problem. But that's one thing I do got to fix. The other thing, when I'm going over big logs, it's got these weird like circle rings, kind of like a D-ring on the bottom that the previous owner welded on to tie it down to a trailer, but it gets hung up on those rings. I'll throw a picture of them in here. I plan on cutting those tie-down rings off entirely. Our two-wheel drive Coots don't have those, and they get over logs and things so much easier. It doesn't get hung up. These ones, I don't know why they put those on there, but those are coming off. I do want to do the propeller on it. I think it'd make for a lot better videos. It's kind of boring watching it kind of slowly creep across the pond, and it's funner in person than it looks on video, but still you'd like it to go a little bit faster. I do want to do a cage so I can take it to some off-road parks, do some mudding around there. I definitely need the bench seat, so when I'm floating you have to kind of sit in the middle, and sitting between the two seats I made is just not working out, so there's bench seat coming. So there's a lot of modifications and videos coming up with the Coot. I kind of work on it here and there, so it may not be in the near future, but it's coming. But if you like this video, please subscribe. It really motivates me to keep recording all this stuff that I'm doing. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of money. I ruined a GoPro in this video and burnt an SD card up somehow. So I lost a lot of footage of this, and I had a YXZ video that I took. We made some jumps in a track, but I lost all that stuff. But thanks for watching, and I appreciate you. See ya.